Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with the next update for my whole collection project pan. I do have quite an exciting update today, so I am just going to jump into it. But before I do so, of course, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you in the family. But let's jump into the video. So this project was created by BeckyLovesKanga a while back. I don't think she's posting anymore on YouTube, but I think she still has her playlist and everything if you want to go back and check her videos out. She created this project and basically she randomized 10 products from her collection, and in her version she completely had to finish those items before she was allowed to roll anything else in. Since then a lot of people have started doing this as well. I know Emilynmax and Sarah Sapphirine kind of did a collab, or like I guess like an unofficial collab of this project, where they basically started randomizing products similarly to Becky, but with more kind of usage goals or hitting pan and things like that. And that's, I think, is how a lot of people are doing it, and that's also how I'm doing it. This year some people are doing half their products with 10 uses and then the rest of them with more difficult goals. I'm just doing whatever goal I feel like. Usually there are quite like difficult goals, like either hitting pan or like a 30-50 uses goal, apart from with eyeshadows where I always have a goal of using them 15 times. So that is how I'm structuring my project, and let's just jump into the first item, and I will start with the eyeshadows that I have in this project. So actually all of the 3 eyeshadows that I have currently in this project has all been in for 3 months now, and the first eyeshadow that I have comes from my Anastasia Soft Glam palette, and I'm currently working on the shade Glistening. So I'm going to put it up here where the eyeshadow was last month. Like I said, it had already been in for 2 months and I had 6 uses on it in total. Since then I've actually used this an additional 6 times, and this is where I am today. So hopefully you can see it right there that I was able to hit pan on this eyeshadow. It took me 12 uses in total. So because of that I'm rolling it out, because although I do have a usage goal of 15, if I do hit pan on something I can roll it out earlier. So this eyeshadow will be rolling out of the project. So the next eyeshadow that I have is one of my Cleona eyeshadows, and I have the shade Majesty at the moment. Again, it had been in for 2 months at the last update, and as of last update I had actually only used this 3 times, so not too many. I feel like this is an eyeshadow that I kind of save and I don't use very often, but I really wanted to hit my goal on this eyeshadow in the past month, and I actually have. I used it an additional 12 times in the past month, and this is what it looks like now. So hopefully you can see right there that I do have a bit of a dip going. With my Cleona eyeshadows I don't really like want to force myself to hit pan, so I do try to use them more evenly, but you can definitely see where I've been focusing my brush there in the center. I am wearing this eyeshadow today for the last time on like my inner corner, like in a half of my lid, and yeah, I love this eyeshadow so much. And it's actually been in this project I believe twice, so I do have I think 30 uses on it now, plus like a few obviously outside of the project. But yeah, I'm happy to finally have a bit of a dip in this shade. And then the final eyeshadow that I have in this project comes from my Blueberry Muffin palette, and it is the shade Tempting. Again, it had been in for 2 months, that's the last update, and this is what it looked like then. I did have 9 uses on it at that point, and as you can see I already had pan on this when I rolled into the project, and this is what my eyeshadow looks like now. It's this one right here. I did use it the additional 6 times, so I will be rolling this shadow out as well, which is very exciting, and I can get 3 new eyeshadows in this project. I mean, I could technically not roll 3 eyeshadows, but since my collection is majority eyeshadows, I usually always have 3 eyeshadows in this project. But yeah, this one will be rolling out as well. So moving on to the next category that I also have 3 items of, and that is blushes. I've been working on the Dior blush in Rosy Glow for the longest. This has now been in for 4 months, and as of the last update I had used this 15 times. My goal with this blush is to use it 20 times, so I had 5 more uses to go, and this is what it looked like at the last update. And I am happy to report that I did use it 5 additional times, and I will be rolling this one out. I don't know if you can see much of a difference in the pan. I can definitely see a little bit of a dip, but it's not just from this project. I have used this blush a lot, but yeah, this one will now be rolling out, and I can roll something else in its place. The next blush that I have is my Becky blush in the shade Camellia. This is what it looked like at the last update, and actually I had only used this once at that point, but I'm happy to say that I have reached for this one 3 additional times, and this is what it looks like now. I don't think you're gonna be able to see any difference really, but I now have 4 uses on it. And just like with the rework blush, my goal with this is to use it 20 times. So I still have quite a way to go, but at least I do have a couple more uses on it this month. So that's going to be the first item staying into this project, but let's move on to the next blush, or the final blush, which is my MAC Fairly Precious blush. This is what it looked like last month, and I had used this 11 times. Again, I wanted to use it 20 times, and this is what mine looks like now. I did actually use it the additional 9 times to roll it out, and I did use it 4 additional times after that, so I did keep using this even after I hit my goal. This is one of my favorite blushes in my collection, so that's why, and I just love this, especially in spring and summer. So I'm sure I'll be pulling this out more and more throughout the next coming months, but I'm happy to have it out of this project, and again I'll be able to roll something else in its place. Next up we have my primers, and the first primer that I have in this project is my Pat McGrath Labs Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Primer. My goal with this is to use it 30 times, and as of the last update I had used it 7 times. I'm happy to say now that I have used it an additional 17 times, so I'm 24 uses, and that means that I should definitely be able to roll this out by next month. I couldn't probably roll it out by this month, but I was working on finishing a primer in my rolling project pan, and I'm now done with that one, so this is my main focus to get out next. And yeah, I am definitely sure that I will be able to do that by next month. The second primer that we have I rolled in last month, and that is my e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. With this one I actually put a goal of 50 on it, which is quite high, but I wanted to put a higher goal because I knew I was going to finish out other primer I was working on, the Maybelline one in my rolling project pan, and I also knew that my Pat McGrath primer would only stay in for maybe 1 or 2 more months, so I wanted to put a higher goal on this one. This is what it looked like when I introduced it into this project, and this is what it looks like now. You can see that I do have a bit of use on it. I have used it 10 times in the past month, and with this one, if I do hit pan up before 50 uses, I will roll it out as well, but I am using it quite like evenly, obviously not completely evenly, but I'm not really digging in it because I want to get as many uses out of it as possible, but it will also stay in this project. So lastly we have my miscellaneous products. The first one is my KVD liquid eyeliner, and this one I want to finish. I'm not doing well with this one, you guys. I have only used it 4 times, and that was in the first month it was in. I have not used it at all in the past month. I didn't use it at all in the previous month before that. So I'm not doing too well on it. I'm just using eyeshadows a lot as eyeliners when I do use eyeliner. And eyeliner in general isn't something that I use very often, so I need to really step up my usage game on this. Otherwise I might declutter it by next month if I haven't used it. I feel like a liquid eyeliner is something that I always want to have in my collection, but this one is getting old, and I do have a backup, not of this one, but I do have a different liquid eyeliner that I'm using, and also I can use eyeshadows as liner if I mix it with Duraline, so we'll see. But I think if I haven't used this by next month I will probably declutter it, but I'm really going to try to remember to reach for this one. Then the last product that we have in this project is my Innisfree Micro Cara. This one is just like a lower lash mascara. It has a tiny wand like this. I put in a goal of 50 on this because it is not a product that I reach for by itself. It's not like really in a project, I just forget to reach for it, so I wanted to put a high usage goal so I could use it as much as possible. And in the past month I have used it 18 times, so I'm doing pretty good. I have 32 more to go, so I might be able to reload it out next month if I use it every single day, but I still think that's very unlikely, so it's probably going to be 2 more months before I can hit my goal on this item. So I actually hit goal on 5 of my items, so I'm going to go ahead and roll in some new things to work on. I think my spreadsheet is pretty much up to date. There might be like 1 or 2 things that I haven't like added or removed, so if I do get something that is no longer in my collection, that I will have to re-roll, but again it's mainly up to date. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick a number, and currently I have 993 things to pick from, so let me go ahead and put that into my pretty random app. So I have my app right here. I'm gonna put the first number, which is gonna be 163. And 163 comes from my Colourpop Through My Eyes palette, and that is the shade Sandalwood, which I think should be like a setting shade-ish, so that should be quite easy to work on. And that's my first eyeshadows. If you're not aware, I want to have max 3 of each category, so right now, for example, I can only pull 3 eyeshadows, and for example, if I pull another primer, that would be the max I would have for primers and so on. So that's kind of my rule. But yeah, that is an eyeshadow, so I will mark that in my spreadsheet and roll a second number, and that's gonna be 944, which I can't remember what that should be. I think that might be a highlighter, maybe blush, can't remember, but let's see what it is. It is actually a blush. It's one that comes from my Hourglass Ghost Edit palette. and it is the shade Iridescent Rose. So yeah, that is going to be the second item, and that's also my second blush in this project, so max one more blush. And let's go ahead and pick the next number, which is going to be 64, and that should be an eyeshadow, and I think it should also be one of my Anastasia eyeshadows. Okay, so 64 is actually an eyeshadow from my Anastasia Subculture palette. It is Roxy, and I'm currently working on that palette as my level up palette, so I'm gonna re-roll because I don't want to double dip. So let's see what I get. I get 975, which might be another blush. So 975 is actually something I'm already working on this project. It is my e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer, so again I'm gonna have to re-roll, and we're gonna get 379. Okay, so I'm excited about this one. It is an eyeshadow, and it comes from my Huda Beauty Gold Obsessions palette, and it is the last eyeshadow in that palette. So that's going to be the third item I'm going to roll in. The fourth one is going to be number 77, which would be another eyeshadow, and again probably from Anastasia. And yes, that is Lithuriation from the Jackie Aina palette. So that is going to be the last, I think that, yeah, that's the last eyeshadow I'm rolling in. So yes, that is going to be the fourth item. So let's go ahead and pick the fifth item. And that's going to be 155, which should be an eyeshadow. I'm actually going to remove all the eyeshadows because I don't want to have to re-roll loads, because most of my spreadsheet is eyeshadows. So I'm going to go ahead and update my numbers, and then we're going to go and roll. So now we have between 892 and 993, so let's go ahead and pick another thing, and that's going to be 932, which might be another blush, but we're going to have to go and check. And yes, that is a blush. We're going to have to re-roll, and we're going to get 970. Okay, 970 is actually the newest item to my collection. It is my MAC Face and Body Foundation. It's actually the most recent purchase that I made, so that's exciting. It's one that I like using anyway, so that's going to be nice to pull in. So I'm going to go ahead and get my 5 new items, and I will be right back. So I have my products right here. I usually start with like the order I pull them, but I'm going to go with kind of the most boring product first, and that is my MAC Face and Body Foundation. This one is in the shade C3, and again this is my most recent purchase. I really wanted to try this foundations for years, and then I heard this is discontinued, which I don't think it actually is. It's just available in pro stores, but I will kind of pick that up on a whim, and it's a little bit too dark for me unless I fake tan, but it has been a really nice foundation, and I mix it with like a white concealer if I want to wear it when I'm not fake tan, and that works absolutely fine. I love this foundation, and like I said, I have been reaching for it anyway recently, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a usage goal of, do I want to put in 50 or 30? It's not like, I feel like this is more special occasional foundation for me because it's quite nice, but it's also a bit more expensive, so I don't much reach for it every day. So I think I'm going to put 30 on this one because I'm trying to finish up another foundation this year. So yeah, I'm putting 30 on this, and that is going to be my first item. Let's do the blush next, and this one comes from my Hourglass Ambient Lightning Edit Ghost, and the blush I got from here is the shade Iridescent Rose, which is the center shade on the bottom, and that is what this blush looks like right here. I think it's more of a like autumnal blush, but I think it's still gonna, actually no, it looks quite nice. It's there on my finger. I don't think I've even reached for this blush. It's only powder in here I haven't reached for, but that is it right there, and it's actually more peachy than I thought, so I think that's going to work quite nicely. And it's going to be a bit of a switch from the pinkier blushes I've been working on in this project for a long time. So yeah, I think with this one I'm going to again put 20 uses on, because that's kind of what I'm doing with blushes at the moment, and yeah, 20 uses for this blush. So next up we have the eyeshadows that I rolled in, which I think is most fun because I love eyeshadows. But the first one comes from my Through My Eyes palette, like I said, and the shade is Sandalwood, which it wasn't what I thought it would be. I thought it was going to be this shade here, but it is still like a really nice light transition shade. So it's going to be easy to reach for. Yeah, I think this is definitely going to be easy to incorporate, and again I'm going to put in 15 uses or pan. And there you have that eyeshadow swatched out, so you can see what it looks like. From my Huda Beauty Gold Obsessions palette, we got the 9th shade in the palette, which is a beautiful golden shade. It's this one down here. It's a very yellowy gold, but it's going to be exciting to reach for. And this one again will be 15 uses of pan. And I think I should be able to pan on this before I hit 15 uses, because the Huda Beauty pans are very shallow in my opinion. And yeah, usually they're quite easy to hit pan on, especially the shimmer shade. So hopefully I should be able to hit pan on this eyeshadow before I hit 15 uses. And there you have that shade. It's such a stunning, like shiny, glittery shade. It's really pretty. I really like that eyeshadow. So that's going to be the next one. So the last eyeshadow and the last item that I'm rolling in comes from my Jackie Aina palette from Anastasia, and that is the shade Lithuanian, which is this one up here. I don't have very much use on this, but it's going to be nice to roll in. I think it's technically more of an autumn shade for me. It's not, I mean, this palette in general is very autumnal in my opinion. But yeah, I haven't used this, like, it doesn't even look like I've used it, but I think I've definitely used it at least once. But yeah, that is what it looks like, and I am going to go ahead and swatch this out. And as with other eyeshadows, this one is going to have 15 uses of pan, and I think again I might be able to hit pan on this before I hit 15 uses, but we're just going to have to see. And there you have Lithuanian swatched out. It's more of a satin shade, I would say, but yeah, that's going to be the final eyeshadow, and again the final item that I'm rolling in. So those are the items that I'm rolling in, plus my MAC Face and Body foundation. I'm really excited to work on these. Yeah, I feel like these are going to be pretty. The eyeshadows are all kind of more neutral shades, and I feel like all of these can be incorporated really easily. Like this can be like an outer corner shade, it's a beautiful like olive lip shimmer shade, and then a beautiful like everyday transition shade, which is going to be really easy to reach for. And the blush as well, I think goes with everything. So I think, yeah, this is going to be a really exciting month to work on these new items. And I think with that I'm going to wrap up this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Also make sure to check out everyone who is linked down below, which is Becky, Emily and Sarah, as well as a playlist with everyone else who's doing this project. And yeah, I hope you're having a lovely day wherever you are, and I will talk to you in my next one. Bye guys.